Whoa. Don't you dare get in front of me. There you go. That's better. In the middle of traffic. It's what we're famous for. It's a little bit worse, but not by much. Houston, we have a problem. Yes, we do. Anyway, I'm leaving work. Stayed a little bit late. Discussions and goal setting and team building and all of that stuff. So thinking that I would get on here and talk to you a little bit about, and I thought I'm going to do a video about this, of that question that I told you my subscriber asked me, which I like to repeat it over and over because it was so succinctly put. So how do you go about selling on eBay? And so to myself, why do you thrift? Because many people thrift just to thrift. When I started thrifting, she turned me on to thrifting. I had never been there, never been to a thrift store. I had only done garage sales. That was as far as I had ever. So I had never been to a thrift store. I walked into a Goodwill, and it was a fabulous Goodwill, and I keep promising to take you there, but I haven't gone back in those, I guess 20 years already has passed since I used to go. It's a flagship store here in Houston. They have not only a humongous store, they also have their dental, their doctor, all of the community services that Goodwill provides. They have a diner there you can eat, and it's really nice. They have their auction house there, so they put on auctions. I don't remember if they have, I think they have silent auctions, and then they put on auctions. Now this was years ago. They may have already changed all that and gone on to eBay. I don't know, but and I know they've been on eBay for a long time. I don't know about Houston, but I know a lot of cities do have Goodwills online. Anyway, so I had never been to a thrift store. I got that first bug, and I never quit after that. I mean, I was always thrifting, even when I wasn't reselling, as supplemental income or anything. I was a thrifter, big time, hardcore thrifter. But mostly what I would buy, I was a full-time mom, so mostly what I would buy is kids toys. I had two little ones at the time, because my first two kids are kind of spaced 2 years apart, and then I waited 10 years and had another child, and then I waited another 10 years and had my last child. Anyway, so those two kids that I had, my son and my daughter, they had every toy they could ever want. I suppose totally the wrong thing to do nowadays. Everybody has different ideas. Every generation has different ideas on how to raise kids. My idea was, whatever I wish I had had as a child, I bought for my kid. Not that I kind of spoiled myself, but I loved, and then I could not believe I could buy, a beautiful big toy, a fire truck for $1, and an old Gumby toy for 50 cents and whatnot. So I went all the time. I remember the ladies would laugh at me and my friend. They would kind of smirk and kind of snide remarks they would pass. They would say things like, "Hey ladies, did you guys do your housework this morning before you came out here?" Because they would literally see us every single day. And my friend would get a little snarkly with them and everything, and put them in their place. But anyway, so that is why I started thrifting, and then I started collecting. But I've always been a collector. I started collecting even more, and it's interesting to me that because I'm a collector, I'm a reseller, and I think we just become such consumers of things that are cheap and nice. And then you can only give them away to so many people. Start bombarding them with, "Hey, I found this. Hey, I found this." They're going to start feeling a little overwhelmed too, and they may not appreciate it as much. So that's when I started reselling. I received that feedback from eBay, and this is before I really appreciated it as a second income. I started getting, really sweet letters thanking me for this because it reminded them of that, or it was something that was replaced from their child. So that was really rewarding. It was like a reinforcement, to steal a term from special education and whatnot. But it was kind of like a reinforcement for me to just keep going and keep doing it and keep selling. But that's my story as to why I thrift, and I'd really like to know yours. Are you watching my channel here? I know I had a lot of, initially when I started doing videos, I had a lot of subscribers that would watch my thrift hauls simply because they were thrifters themselves, or they just were interested in what I was finding. Or do you actually enjoy reselling because of your thrifting? Or what came first, in other words? Am I trying to put the horse before the cart here? Or is it, what's that other analogy? The egg, the chicken, whatever. What came first? For me, what came first was pretty much that I was a collector. And I used to sell at flea markets, always still collecting an overabundance of things. Everything from, I started collecting antique handbags. I love the beaded and the mesh handbags. And I would just scour and scrabble every corner, every flea market, every antique store in search of those. And then it turned to rhinestone antique jewelry, especially rhinestones. And I wore them. I love them. I mean, I put them everywhere. I wore them in the daytime. It was my little fashion statement, and I used to love to wear that stuff. Then it got to the point where I just had too much, and I got tired of this or that, and I wanted to buy more, so I sold those. Kind of the way I fell into that. And what I want you to take away from this little rave I'm going through here is that you can find different ways that parlay you into this reselling business. Whether you need to pay off a credit card and want to just find a way to sell things, or whether you found that you're kind of an addict to thrifting, as I am, and you realize that you need to maybe scale down some of your hoard. It may be a good way to do it. eBay is there's always someone out there who will collect it. It's up to you how far you want to delve into it. Is it just, like I said, just something that you want to either clean your closet, you want to actually look at it as a supplemental income? It's all about sustainability, I think, because I've showed my sister how to do eBay. I told you how successful she's been. It's been a few months. She's still selling consistently, at least 2 or 3 items a week, doing really well. I mean, this is not her full-time position either. This is a supplemental thing, and that's pretty darn good. And what I'm talking about, sustainability, is that you really have to have a passion for it. Now, there's a difference between the passion for money and the passion for the business and what is required to do it. Because a lot of people are diversifying, and there's nothing wrong with diversifying. If you want to go pallets, you prefer garage sales, whatever sourcing you want to do. But if that's still what you like to do, and then you're gonna be successful. But if you're just doing it out of, everyone is doing this, everybody seems to be making good money reselling, it's not going to happen that way, because it's work. It really is work to go, not even talking about the listing part. I'm talking about the sourcing part. A lot of people say, the sourcing is the fun part. It is, until you actually have to. It is fun until you actually have to source for your inventory. Then it can be a little tedious. It can be a little bit of work. I go to the racks and I literally can get a headache. This is why I switch all the time. I got really into the clothing last year, and I loved it, and I'm still making really good money with that. But one day I was at the rack and I was literally getting a headache looking at blouse after blouse after blouse, especially when you go to the ones where they're like color coded. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just cannot look at another red or green blouse. I'm going to go look at records or look at cups or whatever, because it indeed gets to be a tedious job. I don't know. I think people who say it's not a job, or when it becomes a job, it's no longer fun, I'm not going to do it. Well, that's fine if you have the luxury to do it. And I have the full-time job. I can quit doing eBay and doing reselling and doing the sourcing if I wanted to. But I still have the passion for it. I still enjoy it. So I try to remember that. I'm going somewhere with this, guys. I'm sorry. I try to remember that if it's getting to the point where it's giving me a headache, where it is turning into a tedious, monotonous activity, going through that rack, I go elsewhere. I go look at something else. But I might find something for myself. I might find something for my daughter, for my kids, whatever, for my mother or whomever. Or it's just something that I enjoy. I love the books. That's why I sell books as well and make good money selling books. And then sometimes I don't want to look at the book. Sometimes I want to look at something else. So my point really is that back to the question of why do you thrift? Because you don't have to be a reseller to be a thrifter. You don't have to resell from a thrift store. You can go to garage sales, and garage sales are even more work. They are a lot of work. Sure, everything is a lot cheaper than a thrift store, but they're a lot of work. You've got to map out your thing, and then if you're like me, you don't need to map it out. I just go in my neighborhood. If I make it a commitment to go every Saturday at 6 in the morning, that's not me. That would be a big job. But somebody else may really like that. You prioritize what you enjoy. You've got to have a passion for this business. If you don't have a passion for this business, you won't succeed. You have to have a passion for thrifting and sourcing, or you won't succeed. Because as I said, I taught my sister, she succeeded. I taught someone else, and they'll remain nameless because I don't want them to watch my video and feel like I'm being a critic, which I am, but I don't want it, but I'm not being constructive about it because this isn't the place to be constructive about it. I'm just saying that that person did not, and it's been more than one person actually, did not find the passion, did not tap into the passion of doing it. Therefore, they gave up. They forgot to ship. They forgot to answer an email. They didn't realize that they could actually look in their closet and find things to do, things to sell. They thought that they were going to have to go out and buy a pair of, collectible Nike shoes every week. That's not the case. Today I sold something. This is another thing that reminded me of why I thrift. And oh God, naked woman. You see that naked woman right there? Shit, almost ran right in front of me. Well, she's not naked, but she's half naked. And I couldn't, maybe she wasn't even a woman. I couldn't quite tell. But anyway, what I say is that it has to almost be something innate in you to find things to source and to thrift and to sell, is because I got 2 sales today that I just thought they were interesting and cute, that I thought was cute and unique and different, and I saw something in it. One of them was a box with a cat on it, but it didn't just have a cat. It had a unicorn. Double whammy there. Somebody likes unicorns, somebody likes cats. Triple whammy. Somebody may even like wooden boxes like I do. I have an overabundance of wooden boxes and jewelry boxes that I need to actually sell as well, but I use them for storage right now. And the other, a Zodiac glass, just a tumbler, a glass tumbler with its orange. I saw the colors, I saw the Zodiac. Immediately, I was back in the 70s again. Zodiac signs were super huge in the 70s. And I was like, oh, that's really cute. I think I'll sell that. Well, I sold it for $11 today. One little glass. So, that's just my point there, guys, that it's, how can I succinctly put this in a phrase? I think I have to say that reselling and thrifting cannot be inherited. Or rather, no, scratch that. How can I say this? Reselling and thrifting is not easily learned. Saying that it can't. But it almost has to be, there almost has to be an innate je ne sais quoi there that I can't even describe, but there's something that needs to be kindled, and then you can go forward and you can succeed in this business, because it is tedious, it is laborious, it is something that you have to enjoy to a certain extent. So anyway, guys, let me leave you with that little piece of my brain there, and tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm right. Tell me if you experienced that as well. Have you ever taught anybody to resell and they petered out? Or have you taught someone how to resell and they've been successful? I've had a success story. I'm very proud of it. I knew that something can, even though this person really hated thrift stores, really did, and she didn't have to use thrift stores or garage sales. She's selling something completely different. We'll talk about that later. That she's selling, and I told you about, she's selling luxury items that she does not get at thrift stores. But anyway, so I'm gonna leave you with that, guys. Leave me some comments. Give me your feedback. I hope you enjoyed this little car vlog, and I will talk to you really, really soon. Have a great one. God, where's this person going?